Welcome to McClendon Studios, Random Thoughts and Observation. I'm your host, David E. McClendon Sr. And I'm going to continue kind of the story that I started in another thing where I was telling you about my first trailer, because this hinges on that. But not all my EMT stories hinge on that first trailer. This is just the first one that comes to mind is the one I'm fixing to tell you. The first day there in Spartanburg, moved up there after I moved the trailer and gotten all the utilities hooked up. Moved up there, and my friend Phil Brown went with me to help me get everything finalized, moved in. And he and I went to the community cash and bought groceries, and had to buy all sorts of things like the cornmeal, flour, salt, all the different spices that you would use. And my grocery bill came to $70, and when I was telling people about that later, like, wow, because $70 back in 1980 was a lot of money for groceries. And then they would back up and say, of course, you know, you were buying all the staples, you probably won't have that kind of expense again. Anyway, so the only real extravagance that I bought that time was a fish. And went back to the trailer, got everything put away, and decided to broil this fish. And so I broiled it, and I broiled it for quite a long time, flipped it over and put lemon juice on it and broiled it some more. And this fish never did get to where it looked like it was actually done. Finally took it out of the oven after it had been there much longer than any fish should have been broiled, and served it out on plates, and it still looked raw. And so I took it and threw it in the frying pan and fried it up, and it fell apart. And Phil called this fish hash, because we never did actually get to eat that fish except for maybe a bite or two, because it just didn't seem to ever get done. Well, after a little while, Phil left, and I went to finalizing a few things, and I decided, well, the next morning I got to get up early, got to go over to the campus to buy my books and get set up for class and find where my classes will be. So I'll go ahead and go to bed a little bit early, and there really wasn't anything going on. I didn't have the phone hooked up yet. I hadn't hooked up the television or anything. There just wasn't anything really going on. I didn't know anybody, so I decided just to go ahead and go to bed. So I went back to the pimp room, like I told you all about, and I had made it in the other video, and laid down. And about the time I got to sleep, I heard this tremendous crash outside. I looked out my back door, and there was a car stuck in the ditch. Had missed the turn and run into the ditch right there in my backyard. And so I went out to Bird 2, which was my car, and I had Bird 2 stocked with first aid supplies, better than most basic life support ambulances would have been back then, and grabbed my first aid kit and went and climbed in the back of this car. Well, before I got moved into the house, I'd stopped by the water company to get my water turned on, and there I met the local fire chief and showed him my EMT credentials, let him know I was an EMT, and he signed me up for the fire department, which was out in Spartanburg. If you're in the rescue squad, you're in the fire department the other way around. So I had already showed him my credentials and got signed up for the rescue squad, but hadn't met anybody else. Well, I went out to this wreck, climbed in the back seat of the car, and started assessing the guy and make sure that he had a pulse, and got his neck stabilized just in case he had whiplash or some other back injury. And the ambulance pulled up, and the fire chief got out, Tom Emery, and he said to people, that guy that's in there in the ambulance right there, he's an EMT. Y'all listen to him, because I was EMT, first EMT on the scene, which put me in charge of the scene, unless a paramedic or somebody higher than me came along. Anyway, so we were able to go ahead and extricate the gentleman from the car, get him into the ambulance, and that's how I met Billy Bob, who would become my driver of all the time, and EMT Ray. And we got the guy in the ambulance, got him onto the hospital, and things were just completely different, because back in Iowa, in the Iowa Rescue Squad, you would say, going to the hospital, if it's an extreme emergency for lights and sirens, you say 1066. In Spartanburg, you said code 3. Well, I climbed in the ambulance and didn't say either one of those things, because I didn't know about code 3. And next thing I know, Billy Bob has decided that it's a code 3. Well, everything to Billy Bob was a code 3. If you stubbed your toe in Spartanburg County, Billy Bob picked you up, you're going to the hospital, code 3. That's lights and siren, running every red light, running every stop sign there was, every yield sign, crossing every median you could, driving down the middle of the road, whatever. Anyway, so we had this very wild ride to the hospital with Billy Bob, riding all over, just shifting back and forth from lane to lane into incoming traffic and all of that, oncoming traffic, and just zipping around a very wild ride. We got to the hospital and other things were different. In Iowa, we kept extra sheets in the ambulance and changed them out whenever we had a new patient. We changed the sheets over. In the Spartanburg, when we got into the ER, we changed our sheets with ER linen. Just changed the sheets on the cot that way, and that's the way it was done. Anyway, we had to wait to get released, and then when I was released, Billy Bob drove me back to the house. And this was just a very unusual way to start out a new life in town. Was start out by hopping in an ambulance and meeting people that would later become your friends, and some of them very good friends. In the middle of something like that, not having any clue, having never worked with them before, how they worked, it was like we kind of meshed together as a cohesive team very, very quickly. Especially with Billy Bob, it's like, you know, after practically no time, we knew what one another was thinking, what one another was getting ready to do, and it just worked out very well. I will tell you some more EMT stories, maybe a little more exciting and interesting than this one, but I just wanted to start there because that's the first one that came to mind, was how I met the new crew in Spartanburg. We'll see you again next time, and we thank you. This is a Federal Trade Commission required notice. When you click on an advertisement that is displayed with this video, or just before it, we receive a small commission. Sometimes, if you merely watch an ad, we receive commission. If you purchase anything by clicking on links on any of our websites, we receive a commission as well. McClendon Studios is a participant in the Amazon Services LLC Associates Program, an affiliate advertising program designed to provide a means for sites to earn advertising fees by advertising and linking to Amazon.
Suzanne has written a great book of poetry. It is called Shattered. You can find it on Amazon.com. We have a new book. Many people want to know if homeschooling will work for them. This book may help you answer that question. You can find it on Amazon.com.
We also offer you the book, How to Pay Off Your Debt. Buy it on Amazon.com.
Remember, on the 26th of June, 2016, all of our books will be free on Amazon.com in honor of the 21st birthday of our baby child.